right. Do I have a show for you today? Or tonight? Or wherever you're listening from. And if you are French and in France, then you are my most valuable listener. Because, well, I shouldn't put it in values like that. No. Everybody, all are valuable and VIPs to me. But for some reason, France loves my show specifically. I don't know why, but it is. I'm very grateful for that. I didn't know there was so many English-speaking French people in France too. And thank you for listening. You're listening to SAS, Starseeds, Angels, Savant Syndrome, with your host, the Mystic Man. And I'm very mystical. What does that mean? What does it mean to be a mystic? What is a mystic compared to a psychic? Well, you can actually read all about it in a published article online, published in A Philosopher's Stone, the publication on Medium. Have you ever... Well, I mean, this is to all the dudes. Like, a dude. You ever seen a woman breastfeeding? Like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think it was, like, specifically hot. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's, like, more than that, you know? It's a beautiful thing. And I saw a video of it while I was making a video. And I had to stop. And I really just watched, and I mean, boobs, so like, yeah, but that's like, you know, on one level, it's like a little tiny human eating another human, like, it's like sucking the juice out of a human. Like, whoa, that's intense. Like, that's some hardcore shit, you know? Like, kind of like scary, but not, you know? It's just like really shocking. Like, wow. Like, human eating human. Zombie. All right. Let's get right to it. You are listening to SAS, Starseeds, Angels, Savant Syndrome. And I'm Sean, actually. The Mystic Man, I say. But really, I just got that name because, well, actually, it was my Google account name for my Google account thingy, and I had it as that from a song, a Hawaiian song. You know, I think it was 3 Plus or Ikolu or whatever. Either 3 Plus or Ikolu. Really old, classic Hawaiian song. Really good one. I used to love that one as a kid, and well, I love the whole band, you know. And I had that up And then at some, what was it? It was, yeah, a certification for something, right? There was a account that I made through just signing up with my Google account, and they put my alias for my email onto the certificate when I finished the course. And I was like, dude, like, come on, like, what the fuck? This is not gonna fly with me. No, how the hell am I gonna show people this and be like, hey, yeah, this is me, Mystic Man? But yeah, in any case, thank you for listening, and thank you for your time right now, wherever you're listening from, day or night, today, tomorrow, or wherever you are. It's definitely then, at that time, and you are listening to a time capsule. Isn't that cool? Think about it. You know, think about podcasting yourself too. This is not an ad, me saying this. I'm just saying that podcasting has kind of gone up on the rise. And I'm not saying just because now, just because we're all stuck in our houses, by the way. But it was for a while, for the past year, 2 years. More so, year though. It's really been on the rise because technology for sharing one podcast on multiple platforms evolved to be easier for everybody. Yeah. In any case, a lot going on right now, and I felt that it would be responsible and mature to talk about it all. Of course, nobody wants to talk about it, right? Because everybody wants to talk about it. But there's a lot of war over what's true or false. You know, I'm kind of, I'm disappointed in just the way things turned out. Aren't you? Right? You know? I mean, I knew things were messed up, but I figured like there'd be like a general like underlying just humanity. And look at now. It's interesting. I mean, it's cool that like bad people supposedly, excuse me, are getting caught, which is good. But there's something so weird about it all, right? I mean, the light workers were right. You know, they were prepping for this. They've stated, you know, they even had groups. The event is coming. The event is happening soon. The event is here. And what do you know? Here we are. It happened. And that's kind of iffy in itself, right? You know, but I'm not pointing blame. Actually, this is definitely not about pointing blame, but this is about responsibility and accountability. You see, the difference is that we focus on what's going on and what we can do about it and what we will do about it. Not just can, because you know when we focus on the thinking of what can I do about it, we're trying to make excuses. But if you really want something, then you find a way. Believe me, I know. I stopped giving myself excuses by a irony in my life. Just coming to a point in my life where I realized that I had given myself excuses too much, and it cost me. Well, if you know me or not by now, it cost me my mom. And seeing her in time, and it was my fault.
if you can empathize with me there, then you can kind of apply it to your own life. That's the point. A lot of times people don't want to empathize with me there, so they just focus on that and think, oh, he's saying that because he's hurt. And I'm like, oh my God, do I have to spell it out? No, I'm saying this so that way people understand. So that way the people that I talk to understand. I'm hoping you understand that you can apply that to your life and it becomes a superpower before you make the mistake of losing the things that you have not yet gone for. That's why I say it. So if you empathize, this is a gift to you. You can receive it, and which you can. Just think about it. Think about the things in your life that you have not yet done. Maybe you haven't seen your relative in a while. Hey, you know, no excuses. What about that girl or guy that if you're whatever, attracted to, or maybe a job you wanted to go after, but you've been not too courageous in it. That's egotistical. Kind of weird way to think about it, but somebody put me onto that, and it's so true. Even looking down on yourself is egotistical because it's self-centered. It's thinking about yourself as the identity. But the truth is that when you want something, when you truly want something, you don't focus on yourself. It's not the point. What confidence is where the person forgets about themselves and they focus on what they're trying to do. Simple as that. And I think that that's the irony, really. Maybe it's a miscommunication thing, which happens. Hey, not all of us speak the same ways or understand things the same ways, so miscommunication happens. And also, a lot of times, especially nowadays, we've gotten stuck in this dynamic of horrible values, values that were not valuable in the long run. And look what happened. So let's revert. Right now, I am in my apartment room. It's very small, which is quaint. I've got a cool bed. I mean, it's nice, but it's pretty dirty because I have not really given a crap about sheets even. I used to use the sheets, but I just freaking didn't even give a fuck after maybe a couple months. Last, I don't know, 2 years ago. Gross, right? I know. It's authentic of me. And I don't care if you judge me because guess what? It doesn't matter, does it? Look at us. In our lives, in our houses, in our waddles of clay. No, that's from a scary movie. Waddles of Clay. That's from Halloween 3, I think. Which was actually filmed pretty close to here. Anyways, the point is that I focused on work. I focused on doing what I needed to do, what I thought I needed to do at least, trying my best. And the bed was just a place to fucking lay down and not be working for a second, And when I had to and would collapse, that's where I would collapse. And I would wake up and I would get back to work because I wanted something, because I saw the value in it. And that's it's a psychological thing that is very simple. It's already been laid out for us. It's already been charted and mapped, and it's easy to read, very easy, especially when you can anchor yourself in a knowingness of who you are and why that is. And the map and the chart is the zodiac. That's right. Astrology is just a reflection. The aspects of the zodiac go in certain orders, and I don't just mean in the wheel of it, but if you'll notice that there's certain dynamics to it. For each element, you have 3 signs. Total of 12. And if you know your charts, there's also houses. Total of 12. And such are reflective. There are 4 elements. They go in order. Starting off with fire, so to speak. But really, before there was that, you had to have a temperament, right? You had to have a form from that. So it would be water from the Pisces, which is the deepest depth of the void, to the spark, that is Aries, which is the passion. So you have the feeling to the passion. I want something because I feel something. And then I have the passion, which drives me. Then it goes to earth, which is sense, value, understanding of time due to memory, which all memories are, really. Sensation. Then, onto light. I know, we say air in astrology, or they say air. Obviously, it's not air, it's light. If you want to associate a physical representation to these elements. In any case, the point is, use it, get to know the astrology chart. Don't be lazy. Don't be behind. If you don't know astrology, you're behind the times. And I don't mean in a, like, oh, there's some astrologers out there. No. There are hundreds of millions of astrologers out there. Many of them are way better than me. And it is a science. If you actually ever looked it up, it's amazing. I would say that, how much is there online about astrology? Probably a good, at least 15% of the published articles online are astrology that you had no idea existed. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you're an astrologer listening to the show. If so, kudos. Keep up the good work. Do me a favor. Teach it. From the passion of wanting to inspire others to learn about themselves through astrology. That's what I do. And that's my goal every single time. I guess I'm not the best at inspiring people to learn astrology, really. Because what I like about it is the amazing sense that it works from the data. It's amazing, you know? To me, that's what really, really trips me out, you know, because I didn't believe in it. However you can connect to people, do it. Because right now, people don't know themselves. They don't know themselves, so they don't love themselves. They think they do, but they've been taught ego values. And now we have a humanity that needs humans to be humane. I'm sorry if I'm coming off harsh. I've suffered a lot, you know, and I'm not asking for sympathy or pity. I'm just, I'm trying my best. And I know everybody else is. Please, if you could, find me on Facebook. Sean Filifano. You could find me through probably a good amount of things in this on this podcast, promoted stuff, videos and such. I did a documentary on emotions called True Emotions. You can find it online. I write for a couple publications, doing some studying. Something clicked. You see, I've known a good amount about science, just as every other kid, you know. I mean, if you're my age, then you probably grew up with Bill Nye, right? And you probably watched some pretty cool shows that really excited you about science. Those were the best, right? Like, we never liked, math and our lower, grade school days, but when it came to chemistry or science, like, that was cool. Interesting, right? We always loved dinosaurs. Like, what? Dinosaurs? Cool, right? Things like that. History in the sense of the vastness of it. Well, I knew that DNA was the perfect antenna for light wave. And I knew this for two reasons. I mean, well, from one, from a book, a very lengthy book called, and it's a very hippie name, okay, but the data research was pretty good. It's called Infinite Love is the Only Truth. Everything else is illusion. Now, I don't suggest you believe everything in the book at all, but the science and the data collected was pretty cool and pretty on point. And I really specifically liked the part about the DNA explaining. See, it was the first time I had ever heard of the idea that DNA was the perfect antenna for light frequency. And it's true. Look at it. And a bit before that, my good friend Derek one day told me, because he was going to school for this stuff, told me how DNA and RNA communicate with each other for sending photons to each other, because DNA and RNA are made out of protein crystalline structures. And I thought that was insane. That's amazing. Like, you're telling me that DNA and RNA are crystals and they communicate with light. And that's a fact. It's a published academic find. And we know that. And we have known that. And that's what we teach in our school, obviously, because that's where he learned it and told me. Now, you put those together, what do you get? You get the fact that the DNA is the specific structure to capture light frequency. Now, that's funny. So what does that imply about frequencies? Well, a couple things. There was a video that I wish I could find, but I've been looking for 5 years. I've shared it once and then it was taken down. Never seen it again. But I think that just by me talking about it, we can use our general understanding of logic and logical reasoning to deduce the logical truth. And it is easy. And it is so easy it's mundane. So, alright, well, the video talked about same stuff. Frequency, DNA. And what it also talked about was the heart. And how the heart gives off a far greater field of electromagnetic frequency than the brain. But this took it a bit further. Talked about emotion and the difference in the frequency dependent on the emotion. Turned out that love
was a high frequency. The resonancy of, I don't know if I used the right term, excuse me, because I know that you have to apply vector and a lot more than that, but we'll just say high frequency of the emotion of love was high enough so that way, as it goes through the DNA, if you were to align the DNA and to measure it from the wavelength to the bend of the curvature of the DNA structure, what happens is you would find that the wavelength hits every node. It enacts, it connects, it activates. Well, we shouldn't say activate, but I mean that's probably what it is. But for the record, I'm just looking for words here. But it touches every node. Now, when it comes to emotions like hate or anger or depression, those are a bit more deep and long wave. So they miss the nodes. Don't activate them. Mind you, I'm using activate as a, je ne sais quoi. I don't really know. I just, I'm using that word. But it does sound, of course it does. Why else would it be the same shape, perfect shape, for light waves? Moving on. Now, going through the years, knowing that, it's very interesting that this COVID-19 thing comes along. And as it does, a friend posts a video by a doctor giving a speech, and I won't say anything here as though it's fact. Let's just put it up to conjecture. Okay, let's just say supposedly. This way that I don't anger any crazy people out there that are trying to, have their fact wars. Which, believe me, I can and will drop the hammer. But let's leave it for now as supposedly, right? Let's say that DNA, when it breaks, when it gets damaged, gets ejected out of the cell because the cell does not want it to be in there anymore because that's broken genetic material. Genetic material is made out of molecules that are collected elements that could have chemical reaction as it floats about, comes in contact with other chemicals. So it wants to get rid of that, obviously. And it ejects it out of the outside. That's the membrane of the cell membrane. And if it has a lot of material that's broken, it ejects it out from the outside. Now let's say a certain Rudolf Steiner, during a Spanish flu of sorts, was approached and asked, well, what are we looking at? What is this? And Steiner was to say, well, that's obviously just... No, he didn't say that. Okay, all right. He was not a pompous guy at all. He was a very cool guy. But he said, oh, that's just the cell ejecting damaged genetic material. Right. Now, I'm no longer saying supposedly. You know, Rudolf Steiner was a brilliant man. Now, I don't know anything about his political agenda because I've never even researched in that area, and to me that's besides the point because I'm not talking about an ad hominem fallacy, which is what everybody does these days, which is really stupid. And don't do that. Don't do an ad hominem. That's where you ignore a person's point by trying to make generalizations on their character based on their sins or some shit, as though anybody else is making any better. It's about the logic, damn it. Get the logic through. For real. That's how you get justice served. I mean, I believe that we all want to have justice, right? We all want to live in a world where nobody lies and does evil things and we don't have to worry about all this crap, right? Let me sidestep for a second here because I think it's important that I do touch on that. What about, let's say you live in a fanciful world. It's totally made up, imagined by you. None of this is in this world is at all similar to the world that we live in now. Okay, now in this imaginary world of yours, there's a medical industry. This industry makes money from illness. That's right. People pay because they're sick. That's how they make money. Hold that thought. Now, there used to be, in this imaginary world of yours, where there is this medical system that is an industry, cures. But through time, and by default of an industry needing to make money and profit and grow, well, they stopped researching anything in the cures because it wasn't efficient for money making, and I don't know how people can be so myopic that they would only really care about their one life incarnation here and just really try to reap and create a worse world for the future and for their children if they have any. I don't know. It's just it's hypocrisy, really, if you think about it. You reap the benefits of a society, as we do. You have jeans on. Did you sew them? You drive a car. Where'd that oil come from? The gas. Who built the car? All of the things that you benefit from, even the safety that you have from others, because we have a legal system. You reap that benefit. That is not a thing that's just inherent in humanity. No. That took hard work from people that you don't respect. If you fail the system, if you disobey humanity's goodwill by taking advantage of others, if you disobey the hopes of the people that laid the foundation that you reap from, I don't even see why this is an issue, but it is. And I guess I just have to accept it. But that's just me saying it because, that's a way to say it. But in a more practical sense, I really don't have to accept it because that's wrong. I don't have to do any action except for speak the truth and say that it's wrong because it is. And people can get all mad they want, but that's just a reflection of cognitive dissonance and denial, and that can be measured as it can be charted, and it can be recorded as it can be shown. And in all due respect, respect is only applied with humility being a factor that builds character. So character is not had if humility is not accounted for. I know I've had an entire life of humility. I honor and respect people daily. Now that is it boasting of me? Only if it sparks your insecurity by you not doing the same. Because a person that does the same would say, yeah, me too. Right on. You know, obviously. Why would they get insecure? They wouldn't. But a person that doesn't do that would be like, so, what do you think, you're better than me? You know? I mean, it's the thing. It's the funniest thing because it has nothing to do with that, what I think. You know, it has everything to do with the person being insecure by specifically lacking in exactly what they know they should not be lacking in. These things are very much needed. It's evident right now, pretty damn hardcore. I mean, I've said it before, you know, I can't believe that it got this far. Like, really, I cannot believe that it got this far. Are you not feeling the same as me? Like, you know, like, damn, like that? Like, humanity really just... You know, it's I don't know. I mean, I've really... I'm still trying here. I'm still trying, and I'm not trying to insult, but I don't really see any other way. But like, I mean, like, if people don't really feel the shame or look at the shame, then you kind of gotta insult, really. I mean, I'm looking at Alex Jones. I used to hate Alex Jones just because he was negative, right? You know. But I kind of see now, like he filled a kind of needed criteria. And what happened when he, you know, got shut down? Well, narcissists derived out of the Love Yourself movement. And it created a faction of a bunch of people who would not look at anything negative, so they would not solve any problems in society. I don't even know if that was planned or if that was accident, but it's fact. By measurement. Easily recorded as it is easily shown and seen. And ironically, probably just all accident, because if you look at Google Trends and you Google search in Google Trends, the trends between searching for the word narcissist, searching for the words self-love, and a song that Justin Bieber came out with about self-love. Yeah, I know. I was going to before publish an article called Justin Bieber yada yada sends us to hell or some shit, something like that. But I decided against it because I was very, you know, I mean, he's just like a kid trying to make songs. And that's actually a important thing that I want to emphasize here. You see, although like I've come off a little bit negative, I mean, you might notice that I have not done a specific thing. And what that thing is, not point to the government or to anybody or to some idea of a people that, you know, are evil. Been like, they are the ones and that yada yada. And you know why that is? You know why I'm not pointing at some imaginary thing? Or, I mean, I'm not saying it's not real. Whatever you might believe is there, it might be real. Hey, you know. But I'm not pointing at that. Because doing that, if you notice, all through history, specifically stops us from solving it. We don't solve it by pointing. If we point at the issue, that's fine. You can most definitely point at the issue. You can especially if it's in the moment and somebody does it, that's fine. Point at the issue, point at them, and as they're holding the issue, whatever. But it's not about them. It's about the issue. That's responsibility. That's accountability. Because accountability is forgiving. Accountability is understanding that a person is going to feel emotions. That's regardless. It's going to happen. A person feels emotions. In fact, it's only as we deny them feeling emotions that things become toxic. And I say this a lot. I say it again. Emotions are just water. They must be felt. If they're not, then they become stagnant. And the people that deny a person's emotions, that gaslight them from their own expressions of self, that's real evil. Real evil is not the person that blows up and goes off killing people. No, what do you think? That was primed. That was primed from years of abuse on that person, through psychological priming by fake people, plastic people, people with fake smiles, people that did not care to empathize, people that probably thought that their subtle passive aggressiveness was okay. I'm not even blaming them, because that's a really good, huge part of society, and bit by bit, it's changing, thank God. But yeah, no, that's what real evil is. I mean, if you think about it, let's say I'll approach this from all angles. If you believe in God, angels, demons, and such, then let's approach it from that end, okay? The demons obviously would work through the regular seeming people, and of course that's what it would be. A demon would work through a person in a suit, person that's a close friend, not the homeless person on the street that you're scared of because he looks all grimy. No, in fact, that's probably the angel, obviously. But a demon would work through the subtlety, the things that you wouldn't pay attention to, and they would pick through a huge amount of time, because it's conditioning. Now, if you think about it, I bet you can think of things in your life that you really just don't like, or it'll come up sometime and you'll remember, like, oh yeah, that's one of those things I really do not like, that when people do that. And why do they always do that? Well, there's ironies and stuff. Now, you can think whatever you want to. I'm not saying you have to believe in demons. I mean, I don't even know if I believe in them. I'm just saying, use your best judgment. For me, I believe in scientific method. I keep an open mind, and I've had a lot of experiences that does suggest such things exist. But even the label demon is a egregore that was labeled as an idea which has been passed down through time, made up into comics and cartoons, and it's really the understanding of it is more lost than we could say of the understanding had. That goes for everything that you've read in history. Think about it. It's been passed down as an egregore. It's an idea. It's a meme. And the true meaning of anything, that's a tough one. I would say that the best thing that you could do for that, the best tool that you have to decipher the truth, is to get to know yourself the best you can. Because the more you know yourself, the more you understand dynamics of emotions. You know, when we have not started our journey and getting to know ourselves, we tend to think like, oh, people are random. People will feel what they want to feel, and think, things are random and uncontrollable, and people are psychos. Actually, not at all. Really, at all. Like, you start to see that no, everybody else is kind of just in denial that people are acting specific ways because of the things that others are doing to them. Like, it's very much practical, very much so. Like, we all have emotions specifically due to specific other things, and at the root level, those are universal. That's a universal thing. The only time in a person's awareness when they do not have the same universal emotional response is when there's a lacking in the awareness of the object or the experience had, which means that the input is not the same anyway, so of course it wouldn't be the same response. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be lacking. It could be misconstrued, misunderstood, different attributes applied. Yeah, but you got to take into account that that's what we're really looking at, is the interpretation. So when it comes to the interpretation, you got to kind of get basic. Now, like, we could look at things like a person insecure about what other people think of them, right? Now, that, just as every other value, an emotional value, has an equal opposite. I swear to God, you can ask me for any kind of value, any emotional value. There is an equal opposite, and it's very easy for me to find because it's the zodiac chart, and I can just look at it and point to it for you. Oh, there's that. Here's the opposite side that it ignores, that it denies, that it does not see. And I have to do that a lot of times because I have to show people they're not always right. In fact, as David Hume put it, loosely quoted, it's when we are in arrogance that we are most grotesquely wrong. Usually, that is how it is. But I want to add that actually, sometimes we're arrogant for other reasons, like nobody listening and being right. Arrogance comes out. I know it comes out of me, but it's a natural emotion. The ugliness is when we deny that. And I'm saying it, fuck it, it's true. It might seem like it's wrong for me to say because I'm calling it out in others, that they're not allowing my arrogance to be heard. But actually, like, it's weird because that it gives me the maturity to listen to another person when they're being arrogant and actually hear them. And that just shows that I have less of a false ego problem. It's ironic, and it's kind of a show, actually. It's a show of development of character, and I guess I have to be careful about talking about my good qualities because people will get insulted by them, or by me saying that, and insecure about that, right? Isn't that funny? And it's horrible, actually. Like, if you get insulted, that should be a show of because those are the exact people that lack it and deny growing in those areas. Those are the exact people that really are pretty much the exact lacking of humanity that put us in this mess. Look at the journalism, for instance. And I called it out. I called it out on all of them. You know, publicly. I've said it all over the internet. It's because of the fear that the mainstream media has had, the journalists specifically, the fear of their own job securities, that they pushed and pushed and pushed this fear of this virus, right? COVID-19. And due to that, we had a market plummet, almost collapse, but hey, you know, don't uncross those fingers yet. If anything, buy Bitcoin. That's very much a very good logical step. It's open source, which means it's not controlled by any company or country. It's the main tech has not ever been breached before by any hacker. The core tech of the blockchain, and it's finite. There's only 20 million bitcoins that were designed into it that could ever be mined. So the price and value, of course, can, by kind of like default, really only go up. I mean, it can go down, but like that makes no sense, you know? Like it's a valuable asset that takes data, saves it on the blockchain forever to always be verifiable. It's like a storage facility, really. Well, not facility, but storage code thing that you could put something on and hey, be like, hey, you know, I existed and I put that there and it's seeable for everybody in the future forever. Like, that's value. It's a record. And yeah, there will only ever be 20 million or less. So that's a rare thing, you know. I mean, it's not, we can't print out more than that. Like, does anybody understand? Like, that's it. You know, so just buy a little bit. It's gonna go up, but it's the nature of it. Moving on. I've been talking your ear off, sure, I'm sure. But to get to some more important points, one of the main arguments that I hear online, besides this whole like, oh, the cure, something that kills the virus. Viruses, you can't kill a virus. A virus is not alive. A virus is not alive. You know, the explanation of a virus, meow, 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 is that it's a, oh, I shouldn't use a. Or letters. I should use numbers. One, for one, it is 60% or higher the DNA from whatever host that it's in. Interesting. And they say that because they say, oh, it replicates. It goes into the thing and it replicates more of itself and uses the DNA. Sounds a lot like what the cell does naturally when DNA breaks, right? You know, when it has junk DNA, not junk DNA. When it has, excuse me, I'm petting my cat. When it has broken DNA, when it has genetic material that is broken, and yeah, well, it ejects it, you know, and that's pretty much the same thing that we say about what viruses when it infects. No, I'm not saying I know anything about that because I only researched a little bit, for a couple days straight. But that doesn't mean shit because I'm not a doctor. So don't take any chances. Hey, look at me coughing. Moving on then. So it's not alive. And you can know that by Googling it. Guess what? There's I think maybe probably one hit you'll find of a person saying, dude, they gotta be alive. Because, dude. But guess what? Viruses don't fit the criteria. They don't have cells. They can't reproduce on their own, they say. But I say they probably don't even reproduce at all. We probably just see them coming out of the cells. This is my hunch. I don't know. I could be wrong. But it makes sense. I don't know. I think that just for so long we didn't understand that the effect was not of something that we could see just with our regular microscopes. I think that it's because the effect was from light, right? The light, whatever frequency is. By the way, if the diameter is right and the viscosity of the whatever, the medium is just right, then the frequency of whatever spectrum don't really matter. You just gotta fucking be right for the orbit, the sphere, the diameter, the viscosity. It just has to be right to be right for the diameter with the viscosity. And guess what? It causes a resonance factor where the energy builds up inside. Look up and research. Just YouTube. What happens when you microwave a grape? Guess what? It turns into plasma. Foofs up as fucking plasma, like a fucking tiny little sun poof. Because the frequency that's used in the microwave is just the right wavelength to fit the diameter of a grape given the viscosity of the medium inside the grape. The light wave or the frequency slows down, or it slows down, and it bends and bounces back inside of the grape, causing a resonance factor. And from the very center inside of the grape outwards, it burns out as plasma, lighting up bright from the center. Imagine a cell. Gotcha. Thank you for listening. Stay safe out there. And inside too. And cultivate safeness. Co-create safeness. Honor people that do that and build a future of safeness. Much love.